Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about making a dance beat. I'm going to start off by just making a simple chord progression and a simple melodic part using the key of A flat major, which is. So numbering the chords as I usually do, I'm going to be using the chord progression 1, 2, 6, 4. And you'll notice that I'm removing the middle notes from all of the chords to just make them intervals. Now I'm going to play a slight variation on that, but it's still essentially the same thing. What I'm going to play is this. Which is the same chord progression, I've just added a little variation to it. So now that we've done that, let's move on to the most important thing of making a dance beat, which is the drum beat. Now, the instruments I'm going to be using for my drum beat are a kick sound, a snare sound, an open hi-hat sound, a conga sound, and a cowbell kind of sound. Now let's start with the kick sound. Now the kick should go on every beat of the dance beat, like so. Next we want to move on to the snare. Now in most dance beats the snare goes on the second and the fourth beat of every bar. So let's put this in. Next I'm going to add in my conga sound. Now this is obviously a bit more open. You want to use those different sounds to accent what you've already done. So I'm going to put my conga in between the first and the second beat, like so. And this sounds like it accents the beat properly. Next we want to work on the open hi-hat sound. Now a hi-hat is there to keep beat behind the kick and the snare and also fill up the beat a little bit more. So it's okay to have a lot of these notes in a bar, and it's okay to have them a little bit offbeat if you want to. That's what I'm gonna do with my hi-hat pattern. So here we go. Sounds kind of cool. So lastly I'm going to add in my cowbell sound, which is the E. So let's add this in. So that's my cowbell sound. So bringing our drum beat and our melodic part together, what we have sounds like this. What it really needs now is a bass part. Now I'm going to use a very simple bass sound, which is and as you can see I'm going to accent the kick beats and play my bass sounds on the kick beats. A good idea in dance music is to be able to tune your kick sound to the key that you're in. So I'm working in A flat major, so I would tune my kick to an A flat. A way to get around this is if you are using a bass sound on each of the kicks, then you can simply negate that a little bit, because you will hear the bass sound and they will already sound like they are in tune. But if you do tune them down to the root note of the key, then it will obviously sound less clashing. So let's go on with the bass part. So this sounds pretty good. Now the next thing my dance beat needs is a catchy melody over the top, which I'm going to be using a kind of a Rhodes electric piano kind of sound, and I'm going to play a little melody. So here we go. So that sounds pretty good. And finally, what I think my dance beat needs is something to lift it up a bit more and add a bit more background noise to, you know, the guitar sound. So I'm going to use a choir kind of sound to put over the top, just playing the chords that the guitars are playing. And let's do this one. So you can see that it's not a dramatic difference, but it does add one more layer to your beat. And you'll find that if you do this and you add a lot of little subtle layers, they will all add up very quickly and make your beat sound a lot more rich. So, you know, that's the best advice I can give. Try and make a lot of different parts and then make it a game of taking out selected parts to complement each other, rather than not having enough parts to put into the beat, because you can always take things away very easily. So finally, the end result of my beat sounds like this. So you can see I've made a dance beat from scratch. Now, a good way of making your dance beat sound more dynamic is, as I said, if you add in lots of parts and then take them away and then add them in again later on, it gives the beat a lot more dynamic. And basically the aim of the game should be to make as many catchy melodies within that one chord progression as you possibly can, because then you can change up the beat a bit and add in a new melody, and it makes the beat sound entirely different when it's still within the same construct. Also, another thing you can do with dance beats is use sidechain compression. That's what I've used on the guitar and the chorus sound. It just makes the beat stand out a bit more, because what you do is you sidechain those instruments with the kick, and then once you've done that, it makes the kicks stand out a lot more and gives the track a lot more bounce. So I would look up sidechain compression if you don't know what I'm talking about, and yeah, I might do a video on it later on. But anyway, that's making a dance beat. So thanks for listening.